Welcome to the Self-Care for the Creative podcast, where we talk self-care strategies for creatives. We also talk mindset, wellness, personal growth, and artist development within the music industry. I'm your host, Stephanie Friesel. I'm an artist, author, and creative coach, and the founder of Stephanie Friesel Coaching, where we help artists, songwriters, and producers increase their impact, income, and visibility within a year with our artist development program. This season, we are diving deep into calling forth your next level. I'm so glad you're here. Phoebe Ryan writes effervescent pop music with a sharp attention to hooks conceptually and melodically. Born in Dallas, Texas, but proudly raised on the Jersey Shore, Phoebe Ryan started her career in a Grateful Dead cover band in high school. In 2016, she signed with Columbia Records, wrote for Britney Spears' album Glory, and released a feature with the Chainsmokers that quickly went platinum. She's written songs for Britney Spears, Melanie Martinez, Skizzy Mars, B. Miller, All Time Low. She's also collaborated with the Chainsmokers, Tove Lo, The Knox, Black Bear, Cascade, and so many more. And she's a lovely, lovely human being, and I'm so excited to have her on the podcast. Please welcome Phoebe Ryan. Welcome to the Self-Care for the Creative podcast. Today, I'm with Phoebe Ryan. She's an amazing artist and songwriter, and I actually had the pleasure of having her at the Songwriter series last year, and she gave incredible, phenomenal songwriting advice to our clients that come through to our events. Welcome, Phoebe.
Thank
you want to introduce yourself? Give us a little rundown. Tell us who you are, what you do, just a brief introduction.
My name is Phoebe Ryan. I have been in the music industry professionally for I guess over 10 years at this point now. I started as an artist, doing a little bit of songwriting for other artists as well, but I was mostly focused on my artist career for the first half of that time. And then now I've transitioned into writing for others mostly. I just, made that I had a little bit of a metamorphosis, and I just decided I wanted to just pursue writing for other people. So
amazing. Well, we're so excited to have you on the podcast. I know that you have such just a really cool lens of both the artist side and the songwriting side. So I definitely want to get into that today. You mentioned a metamorphosis. I feel like that's so relatable to so many people that are either going from songwriting to an artist project or vice versa, going from an artist project to songwriting. So I definitely want to get into that a little bit today. What is sort of the difference for you in terms of writing for yourself versus writing for others? And have you ever had to go through phases where you're like, I'm not writing with someone or not writing for people right now. I just want to focus on my artist project. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
It's so interesting because I feel like that's a very common question to be well, what separates it? There's just something super deep down inside where I'll just be I know this song is not for anyone else. This is my song. But I would say it usually starts with the intention of okay, this is my day. This is my day for me as an artist to write for my project. Whereas if you're going in with other artists, they are the focus. But for me, I don't know. It's in one situation, it's there actually is a huge difference. But then in the other situation, there's not a huge difference for
the actual creative part for the song.
Creative process. It's we're just making songs.
Yeah, it's and even if you're in the room as a songwriter, you still have the artist brain. So you're connecting to that artist from an artist standpoint. So it's interesting that you kind of made a point of there really is no separation. You bring your style as an artist to the songwriting room. Your role may be different, but it's sort of the same process. Yeah. What made you want to switch over, or was there a specific time or an event where you're just you know what, I love my artist project, but I really want to transition to writing more for other people?
There was a very concrete series of events that happened. So I was going full speed with my artist project. It was getting to a point, I think it was early 2021, where I just noticed I was doing a lot of stuff at this point I was independent. So I was doing a lot of independent artist stuff on my own, and my stress levels were level 11 stress, 11 out of 10 stress for months and months and months. And I remember thinking this is really fun, but I don't feel very very good. Like something's going on. And then randomly one day my face stopped working and I had Bell's palsy,
Oh my
which
God.
is like, so half of my face was paralyzed for about 4 months, and they like don't know exactly what causes it, but a lot of people who have had it said it lined up with like the level of stress they were going through in their life.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea about this at all.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
and at this point, I was also Twitch streaming, which was super fun, but that was like a very stressful thing because it was me doing all of it myself. So, anyway, I decided I'm not going to Twitch stream. I'm not going to do the artist thing. I don't want to be in front of people with my face all lopsided. So, I just said, you know, I have to take a break. I have to heal and I have to just separate from the musician lifestyle for a little bit. And then after that, I was like very severely depressed after that whole thing was going on. Also, they like pump you with like steroids. And so the steroids made me also even more depressed. And
Right.
so I had gotten an offer to do a tour at the end of 2021. And I said I was going to do it. And then the face thing happened. And I said, there's just no way I'm getting on stage.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah. And I guess the metamorphosis after that was like in 2022. And then the beginning of 2023, I was just like going through really like heavy depression. And I just like didn't know if I wanted to be in music at all. I wasn't writing. I was just mostly dealing with my mental health. And
Yes.
on the other side of that, I said, you know what? I'm fully just going to be a songwriter. The artist thing is killing me. It's not fun for me anymore. So yeah, sorry. This is like a long, like rambling.
No. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, it's such a deeply personal experience and a traumatic experience. And, you know, even to just open up and say, hey, like I went through this physical trauma and then it caused this severe depression and it really questioned my entire existence. I mean, thank you this is why we're here, right? Like, thank you for sharing this part of your story. It's an important piece of your story. And it's important to know that in this industry, stress can compound and build without even knowing it. So
yeah.
And so it sounds like that's kind of what was happening on your end, and like not really realizing like, holy crap, now my body is reacting to the levels of stress. So I'm so sorry that happened to you. I mean, I'm sure it's like still like even now, like traumatic thinking about it.
I mean, I'm also so grateful it did happen because first of all, my face came back.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous as ever.
Face came back.
Yeah.
But I'm just like at such a happier place in my life that like I'm just wondering if that didn't happen, if I would have still been doing the artist thing and running myself into the ground and like pursuing this thing that was like all I had ever known. Like that, like my artist project was just like everything, eat, sleep, breathe, Phoebe Ryan artist project. But now I've been able to just like have like a more like normal ass life. Like it's so nice. Like I just write songs for people. I go home at the end of the day. I get to just like talk to artists about what their dreams are. I want to help make their dreams come true. Like I got my family, I got my boyfriend, like we're all like just life is good out, you know, just outside of the scope of I just had this like grind mentality for so long about the artist career. And it's like, what are you if you are outside of that?
Right. It's such an identity, almost like an identity crisis, right? Like I've been through, I'm sure you can relate to this. Like I definitely had similar situations in terms of like going through different phases of your artist career and then just like having to like ask yourself, who am I now? Or reinventing yourself and just going through those identity shifts. And, you know, it really is like an existential crisis sometimes. You're like, what am I doing with my life if I'm not doing this artist thing, right? And I think there's a lot of unspoken pressures that come along with designing that artist life and that artist project and the pressure around that. And I'm so glad that you're speaking about this, and obviously very happy and glad that you're like in a better place, like mentally, emotionally, all of those things. So thank you for sharing that. If you could go back in time, like, and tell Phoebe, the artist, like to do anything differently, would you say anything different to her or give her a piece of advice? Be like, you know, girl,
I would say stay away from toxic men and drugs and alcohol.
Oh, yes. The top three, you know.
I would say, I know if I told myself that though, I wouldn't listen, but
Yeah.
looking back, I like kind of wish I think that contributed to a lot of my suffering was the
The
sex, drugs, and rock and roll
and you're like, but this is the
problem.
lifestyle. This is the lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good advice to know. But did you get some good songs out of it at least while you were in it?
I did get some incredible songs, and I was actually thinking about it the other day because I was working on a song that was kind of sad, and I was like, it's so interesting to be at like a really good place in your life. Like I feel very happy right now in life, and I have for the past like years just been very stable and wonderful. But like I'm like digging deep for these lyrics and writing them so sad, and I'm like, I'm so glad that I've been like to the darkest places just so I can like visit there in a song, like just go for a little visit, walk down
Right.
memory lane and bring up like the dark parts. It's like I feel very lucky that I've had such a high and low spectrum of the human experience.
Yeah. It's so funny. I last season I had Bonnie McKee come on and she was talking about overcoming her addiction to alcohol and how she went through a ton of different experiences. And she kind of said the same thing. She was like, you know what, I'm really glad that I have this array of dark experiences in my sort of tool belt to call on when I need to, but I don't have to stay there. I don't have to live
No,
this. Yeah.
exactly. And Bonnie is such a real one for that. Bonnie's play like has played a really big part in like my sober journey. She's been like a cheerleader and a shaman. Like she's
I
amazing.
love it. Yeah. The guru. Show me the
No,
way,
Bonnie is
Bonnie.
literally the guru. Like she's the best, and she's played a really big part in my like sober life.
I love that. We big snaps to Bonnie. So shout out to Bonnie for season
Love
one.
you, Bon.
Love you, Bon.
Love you, Bon.
So obviously, this podcast is about self-care, and we kind of talk about the intersection between creativity, music, self-care, rejuvenating ourselves. Like clearly, what we don't want for people listening is to get to the point where you were at, so stressed out, like 11 out of 10, 15 out of 10 stress level. And then all of a sudden there's a severe health condition. Now we're talking anxiety, depression. Like this is not what we want for people. So tell me about your new and amazing balanced lifestyle now. Like what is contributing to that sense of balance and happiness and joy for you these days?
I think a big one, and I think I think I wouldn't be super genuine if I wasn't talking about this, but I do take medications for bipolar disorder, and it just wouldn't be authentic if I was like, oh, I like drink lemon water. Like
Right.
I actually
I'm on medicine, guys.
yeah. No, I have been medicated for bipolar disorder since 2015, and it goes in cycles, and it's really hard to like figure out the right balance of your medication to figure out like which one works. But it's like also if you have depression and you're just getting on an antidepressant, like it takes a while. It takes like a real commitment to getting it all sorted out and figured out. And I've put the time in, I've put the patience in. Like I am really a huge advocate for myself when it comes to doctor's appointments and finding the right support networks just like outside of your family and friends. Like I'm pretty intense about all of that stuff just because I don't like to suffer.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to suffer, right?
I just like
Yeah.
don't want to at all. So I have like a great network of like therapists and psychiatrists, and I stay on top of it.
Yeah.
I want to be happy.
Yeah. Do you think there's a stigma around medication that still needs to be broken down, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think there is, but I feel like maybe it's almost becoming a little more common than we think, because now if anyone's ever asking like, oh, why is your alarm going off in the middle of the day? And I'm like, it's for my head meds. Like I gotta, and they're like, oh yeah, I take them too. And I'm like, see,
Cool. Yeah. I see you. Yeah.
I'm like, I see you. And it's not right for everybody, but for someone with like a serious like chemical imbalance, I think it's definitely like something that could be explored because it's just like helped me tremendously. So
Amazing. So you said you mentioned that you started medication in 2015, right? Is
Mhm.
okay. So leading up to that, had you known that something was sort of off or like certain symptoms that you're like, you know what, I really should go speak to a psychiatrist, or like what were the sort of symptoms you were experiencing at that time that made you go in to get medication?
I had always had pretty severe depression, and up until 2015, like even when I was in college, I was getting treated for just depression. It was always making me feel worse. And I've learned that's because if you're bipolar and you're taking antidepressants, it will send you in the opposite direction, and then you will be like manic and you're gonna have really bad symptoms from that. So that's why it's very important to be like diagnosed with the proper thing first. So I was just on antidepressants and all these other things that were just making me so crazy. And I had to take a semester off from college because I was just like not going to school. I was not answering my phone. I was just so sad, you know? I was just not well. And I don't know, like it's honestly such a that like early 20s was like such a blur for me because there was just a lot going on and it was all nonsense. Like it was all such it was
You're
all
like,
fucking
looking back, it was all nonsense.
it was all nonsense. Like, I don't even know what was going on with me. But anyway,
Well,
like,
yeah.
I once in 2015 is when I started being treated properly for bipolar disorder. And that's when I was like, oh, I actually feel better this time.
Right, because you
So,
had discovered the sort of root of what was
mhm.
going on, and you were able to like actually diagnose it, put words to
Yeah,
it, be like this is the condition, this is the plan figure
exactly.
on out. Yeah.
Exactly. Being treated for depression when you have bipolar can be a dangerous thing if you're misdiagnosed. So,
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I feel like that's definitely going to speak to a lot of people out there that maybe they don't know that that's what's going on. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah, of course. Of course.
Um, it's so funny that you mentioned like around your early 20s that you had, you know, you kind of went through this phase of like, okay, I'm depressed, I'm sad. It's just making me think of like, you know, my husband Brian and myself included, we both went through a mental health basically breakdown. I went through a depression, he had a big anxiety thing right around the same time. Like I was like 19, 18, 19, somewhere in there. Him, it was like he was in college and
Yeah.
you know, I think there's something really interesting about like going from a teenager to a young adult pursuing this wild ass career. And there's like this, it's just like it's the coming of age, right? It's like, who am I becoming as an adult, as a creative person? And then that alone creates this
Mhm.
environment of like, great, this is a mental health shitstorm. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Like, um,
It's so true. And I don't know if I can speak for like generalized depression, anxiety, but I do know that bipolar and schizophrenia show up in your early 20s. So I'm sure it's like just that's like the time when your brain is like, okay, like we're not children anymore. Like this
right.
is what's happening.
Right. And becoming your adult self, and you know, you're at this very pinnacle point in life of like choosing your own path in life and create like forging forward in your
Mhm.
career. So and it just kind of loops back to what you were speaking about earlier about all this pressure about being an artist. So what kind of advice would you give like a new and up and coming artist and songwriter?
Ooh.
Ooh, so
I would
good.
say I would say protect yourself at all costs. Be
Don't do
careful.
drugs and don't do
Oh my
drugs and
god.
alcohol or sleep with
Be
terrible men.
careful. Just be careful out there. Oh my god, yes. Just be responsible with the partying. I know that it's like all been so romanticized to just lose your shit, but it's not. It sucks. It's don't do it.
Just be careful out there, you guys. Be careful.
Yeah. But I also think it's really important to surround yourself with people who are doing good things that you see their work ethic, you see the way they handle themselves in public, and you say like, okay, just surround yourself with good people. That's really
That's really it, right? Because there's so many people in the industry, and I think about that a lot too, because like, you know, it can be cliquey, it can be like, oh, there's that group and this group, and you know, you don't necessarily vibe with everybody, and that's okay. You know, that's totally okay. Stay in your lane, pick your lane, and choose your people, and surround yourself with positive energy. I have a couple more questions, and then we'll get you out of here.
Okay.
How do you refill your creative cup? Like when you're feeling like, oh, I'm not inspired anymore, or I just need to take a break, or like, what does refilling the creative well look like for Phoebe?
First of all, I need silence. I need absolute silence. I am like not listening. If I'm listening to music, it is like soft classical, like spa music.
Nice.
I need
Relaxation
quiet.
only.
I need absolute peace, candles, silence, books,
Quiet
no
time.
nonsense. Yeah, I just no stimulation at all. Just like absolute, like almost like a lot of times I like pretend like I have the flu, and I'm like, what would I be doing right now if I had the flu? And
I'd
it's
be in
like
bed.
I'd be in bed. I would have like a nice drink, a nice snack. I would just be like lying in bed, super still.
Comfy, cozy, just like a sick day.
Yeah.
Just take a sick day.
I have like a sick day. Yeah.
I love it.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay, my last question. I have to make it really good though.
Ooh.
I have to make it juicy, you know, because
Like all of these have been juicy.
Okay, extra juicy. Okay, I got it. The music industry can be a lot for women. What's something you've learned about protecting your peace and staying grounded as a woman?
I feel like that is something I am still working on, because I definitely still feel, even at my age and my experience in this industry, I do see instances where I am not being treated fairly, and I am not taken into consideration as much as like one of the boys.
Right.
That's a tough question. How do I protect my peace? I don't know. I don't feel peaceful. I don't feel peaceful at all. I want to rage. Like I want to rage.
We have to get that candle. We have to get all the spa candles. All the spa candles. Let's like light up all the candles and make a circle and just, you know, start a seance. Okay, you come back and circle back on me. I'm gonna hit you with a completely different one as we close out. Okay,
so I love it.
You had a metamorphosis. You started as an artist. You're still an artist.
Yeah, still an artist.
She's still an artist. She had a metamorphosis. She's a songwriter. She's prioritizing mental health, peace, wellness. How do you define success now versus back then?
I think success is literally, like, I'm going to sound so cliche saying this, but just because I've gone through so much in life, like success for me is just like waking up every day and being like, I am content. I am happy. Maybe if you're lucky, you're like excited to go to your session and you're excited to write a song. I just think being content is like the coolest thing I've discovered about being in my 30s.
I love it. Just happiness, you guys. Success, happiness. Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much for hopping on this season. It was so nice to talk to you. And we'd love to have you back at the Songwriter series, hopefully this year or next year, whenever.
Anytime, girl. Come on.
Yeah, I would love it.
And congratulations on baby Declan.
Oh, thank you.
He's a little sweetie pie.
He's the best. He's a chunker. He's a chunker. He's like, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you're an artist, songwriter, or producer looking to rise to your next level, come join us at the Songwriter series for music mentorship from hit songwriters. Or join us at our annual Hitmakers Songwriting Retreat this October in Los Angeles. For more info on all our events, visit stephaniefrizel.com or just email us at info@stephaniefrizel.com. For more self-care gems, check out my book, Self-Care for the Creative. And don't forget, self-care is always within reach, and your greatest masterpiece will always be you.